writing is on the wall. The question is, will it happen? Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another episode of Poke Talk, and this one is going to be a little X, Y, and Z discussion. Now, this discussion is going to revolve around the main protagonist of not just X, Y, and Z, but of the entire Pokemon anime franchise, which is Ash. And for a while, and if you've watched this channel, if you've listened to my podcast, I advocate for this, almost all the time. Kalos needs to be Ash's last journey. And I think now, as we're getting closer to the league, there's even more writing on the wall that supports that theory that this could very well be his last run as the main anime protagonist. And I'm going to explain what I mean by the writing on the wall and why I feel that this should be the case. Now, granted, we haven't gotten any official anime information regarding the next anime saga, which would revolve around the Sun and Moon games, which is very surprising considering that we're towards the end of June and still no information. But I'm taking that with a grain of salt because we haven't got any information yet. There's just so much room to speculate. And actually, it's fueling the theory that, this will be Ash's last run as the main anime protagonist. Anyway, as for the reasons why, and there are basically 4 reasons right now that are on this list, and they're all very major reasons. And heads up, this is going to be a spoiler alert, so that's your little brief warning. From the scans, from the fan info that we've gotten recently about the upcoming Kalos League, which starts next week, it looks like Ash is going to make it to the finals and possibly win, because it looks like his final opponent is going to be Alon, and it looks like Ash might finally win. And if he does, that poses a big problem for the anime in general, because ever since it first came out in the 90s, basically the anime storyline is built to, tell people it's okay to lose as long as you learn from your experience. You can keep losing, but as long as you learn from your experiences and get stronger, you can move on. And if Ash wins the league, that means automatically his purpose in the anime is lost, because, Ash has been around to show kids that it's okay to fail as long as you pick yourself back up and move on. And if he wins, he loses his purpose. So, if he wins the Kalos League, that's pretty much Ash's main purpose, is to show kids, you can fail and you can still, go on. And if he wins, he loses his purpose. I'm sorry, but that's just in my opinion. But really, considering that's the anime's main purpose, and if Ash wins and he loses that, it's going to be pointless to keep him around as the main protagonist. Reason number 2 is Ash Greninja. And I've said this previously, and I think it was my Q&A video, that Ash Greninja is always going to complicate the anime, just because it is a legendary power that you can only have every 100 years, or if you listen to the dub, every 1,000 years. I don't know why they did that, but that's just me. Its power far surpasses Mega Evolution. Basically, it's been dubbed Synchro Evolution. Whether that's really the term or not, I don't know. But it's Ash's strongest Pokemon to date, quite possibly the strongest Pokemon he'll ever own. And Ash has a habit of, when he moves on to the next region, he usually sends back all the Pokemon to Oak's lab. He only takes Pikachu and he moves on to the next region. And after all the time they've spent developing Ash Greninja, giving it this backstory along with Ash, after all that development, you're going to tell me that the anime is going to throw it away and say, oh, well, we're never going to know the difference? No, I'm not buying that. Now, granted, that could always mean that Ash Greninja would go on with Ash and Pikachu to the next region, but then it'd break the running trend the anime's had for over 20, or almost 20 years now, so you can't fully convince me that they're going to do that. Okay, third reason, and this was the big one, Amore shipping. Now, you're like, well, what does Amore shipping have to do with this being Ash's last journey? Quite a bit, actually, because a lot of the older fans have come back to watching this anime specifically because of Amore shipping. And it is one of the most popular characteristics of XY and XY and Z. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The writers have purposely pushed Serena onto Ash. She is now just as popular as Ash. If they split these two up and Serena stays in Kalos and Ash moves on, not only is a majority of their fan base going to stop watching, but a majority of people, not just here in the West, but over in Japan too, have basically said if Ash and Serena are separated, we're done. It's been 20 years. We're sick of seeing the same pattern. And I've always been a big advocate for the time skip theory of, and I'll get to that later on in this video. But yeah, Amore shipping, they've pushed Ash and Serena, both of them, so high. The fans want this shipping to happen, and if it doesn't happen, pardon my language, but shit's really going to hit the fan. The anime is not, they're in real danger of losing the anime if they don't handle Amore shipping correctly, because Amore shipping has helped boost their ratings, and if they get rid of Serena and Amore shipping, their ratings are going to tank, they're going to lose a lot of fans, and then the anime is pretty much screwed at this point. So really, how they handle Amore shipping at the end of this series, how they handle Ash and Serena, that is going to depend on whether this, or that is going to determine whether this anime has a future or not. After 19 years, Pokemon was pretty much on life support, and Serena and Amore shipping have helped save it. So, they gotta handle it very carefully. And the final reason, and this one I'm a little iffy on, because we know the games are coming out in November. Sun and Moon, we know those are coming out in November. And the anime usually follows about a week after the games are released. If not, they're released on the same week. But the anime is coming up on its 20th anniversary. It'll be 20 years old in April of 2017. And, if you've watched the anime since day one, which I fall in the guilty party of that, but, if we have grown up, watching Ash, be 10 forever and never win a league and all that. It's been 20 years. Heck, not me, but some of my friends from high school and, college, they've watched it, they've watched Pokemon since it came out as well. And now they have kids and they're like, really? We have kids and families and we're still watching this same 10-year-old lose and lose and lose and never get anywhere. So, you can see where they're going with that. It's been 20 years. They need to do something fresh. They got to do something fresh to keep competitive. Okay, now, again, those are the top 4 reasons why I could see this being Ash's last journey and why it looks very likely. Now, a little bit ago, I was talking about Amore shipping, and I'm the big advocate for the time skip theory, which is, this be Ash's last journey as the main protagonist, and then for the next generation of anime, we get a time skip. Ash is older. We see that him and Serena did end up, getting together, and the next protagonist of the anime is Ash's kid, who goes on a journey, to try to get stronger, to try to impress his or her, whether it's a girl or a boy, his or her father, which would be Ash, trying to get his approval, trying to top Ash, trying to, build up to his example. And, I really do like that theory, because it means that Pokemon cannot, or we don't just get rid of Ash, he can still stay relevant, he can still make cameo appearances every now and again, to either help his kid out or to battle his kid to try to get stronger, or so his kid could try to get stronger. So we'd still see Ash and Serena every so often. The Amore shippers would get what they want because, Ash ended up with Serena, so the Amore shippers have what they want. The older fans who watched Ash from the very beginning now have some closure towards him, and their kids, they can let their kids watch the anime, and their kids can grow up with another protagonist. But the older generations will still have Ash in the anime as well. And I think that if this would be the best time to, if ever, to do a time skip because, you know, as I've said, Ash and Serena, the writers ship them, the producers ship them, just about everybody involved wants to see these two together. And while it's not always easy to say goodbye to a protagonist in an anime you've had for 20 years, this way is the best way, I think, to write Ash off, not completely, but write him off as the main protagonist, and still keep the anime relevant for all audiences watching. Now, again, whether we get that or not, I don't know. We'll probably find out in the next month or so, depending on whether X, Y, and Z does just end up running to when the game's released in November, or if they actually try to, you know, do a filler thing and we end up waiting until 2017 to get the Sun and Moon anime for the 20th anniversary. I don't know what they're going to do yet on that front. I think more likely we're just going to get it when the games come out, like always. But then again, this series has pushed the bar and they've not been afraid to try new things. It's just anybody's guess at this point what they do. So anyway, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this theory video of why I think this should be Ash's last journey as the main protagonist, and how the writers could possibly, you know, write him off as the main protagonist and still make an enjoyable anime. In the comments down below, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me on any of this? Do you disagree with me completely? Do any of you think, yes, we do need that time skip, or no, we could probably do without the time skip, it's just give us a different protagonist? I don't think that would really work in my opinion, but you guys might be able to persuade me. Who knows? Anyway, in the comments, let me know what you guys think. As always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody.